Jim Nagy's doing work. He's adding staff to his front office again, collected all of the Infinity Stones. He's ready to go to war. Let's talk about Jim Nagy's front office coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, so Oklahoma officially announced the front office for Jim Nagy and the Oklahoma football program, announcing every single position that is filled currently. What do you make of what Jim Nagy has put together?
So we've been waiting for this for the last few weeks. So we talked, and for the uninitiated here, we talked about this when Jim Nagy went on with J.D. Piquel over on 3 on the Hard Count, and he talked about building a staff, preparing for a close to NFL model, the things you need and things to be prepared for, whatnot. And one thing that Nagy did mention is that he had another person come into staff that had more NFL experience than he does. Remember, Nagy had 16-something years experience. Man's been around for a while. Well, figured out who that was. Lake Dawson. He's the senior assistant general manager, 6 years with the Chiefs and Colts as a wide receiver when he played. Spent 25 years in various NFL scouting and front office roles. He most recently was with the Buffalo Bills as one of their senior executives of personnel. That's a massive pickup. Like, that's huge. And all I got to say is we probably got the best front office in the country. You add that experience, Taylor Redd, young, but he's got some experience in the NFL. Drew Hill's still around for director of scouting, who's done a good job in the 12 years he's been here, right? Cale Pearson is the Tulsa guy that's doing some scouting in that area as well as in the region. He has experience in the collegiate ranks. And then, of course, Stacey Ford and Charlie Parkinson, who adds to that. You built a staff that has of multiple levels of experience while also providing you people that can have connections all around the U.S., all around the country. I mean, of course, Nagy has a lot of it, but Lake Dawson's got a ton of it as well, right? Working in the NFL like he did. Now you're going to be finding all these NFL traits, Johns, the thing we talk about all the time, NFL traits. We're going to be seeing that going forward.
Well, and Lake Dawson, part of this Buffalo Bills resurgence over the last few years.
That's true.
It's not all just with high draft picks. They've been able to hit on some mid and late rounders as well that have helped them become one of the best football teams in the NFL. This is what a front office should look like. It's not just, hey, let's get our favorite former players in here and give them these key roles to help build a program. No, it's you're finding dudes that are going to go out there and find really good football players. They're going to know how to manage a salary cap. And I think bringing Lake Dawson in, having that understanding of how to manage a salary cap, how to manage positional values, because not every position is going to get paid the same. Not every position is going to get valued the same. You're going to have a higher value on quarterback than you're going to have on running back. You're going to have a higher value probably at wide receiver than you're going to have at running back. There's going to be some of this discussion that takes place. Is it all going to be the same? Is it going to be apples to apples from the NFL positional value charts to the college game? Not necessarily, because you're going to see them place a higher value on interior defensive line in the college game than maybe they would at the NFL game. But a lot of that's going to translate. And they're going to use some of those models to help them determine, okay, what are we going to value wide receiver, and how are we going to evaluate that? Is this one of those guys that's one of one? Like, is he worth breaking the bank for? Or do we need to just continue to play that middle of the road game, go find guys that are going to help us in our offense, and we don't have to break the bank for it. It's going to be fascinating to see how this evolves, but bringing in that NFL experience along with Jim Nagy and Taylor Redd, this is a really, really dynamic group that's going to help propel Oklahoma forward. And some of what we're seeing on the recruiting trail already is an effect of Jim Nagy and his scouting department.
Yeah, and that's the tough part of this new era of college football civilization is you have to evaluate the positions and you have to give the quote unquote fair market value of what makes sense for these positions, because you're not going to have unlimited funds anymore. You can't do all the crazy. I mean, I think I just saw a tweet that Texas Tech is potentially spending $55 million in sports this year in combination because everything's front loaded as they were preparing for the settlement. Well, you can't do that for everybody. You won't be able to do that every year once the settlement comes down and it's complete here in July 1. So now you got to start getting smart. You got to get creative. You got to find diamonds in the rough while also getting a couple of elite players. You're going to have to balance out the roster and having coaches and front office staff that can take the suggestions from the coaches and also provide suggestions that, hey, this kid looks like he has NFL traits. You have NFL guys talking to college guys like, hey, how much more do you think he's going to grow? How much more space do you think his body has? And they can discuss and really evaluate that together. And then the next thing you know, boom, John, you got, oh, yeah, this kid's probably going to be your specimen, your R. Mason Thomas, right? You get him as a 3-star that no one really didn't think that they had ideas he had talent, but they weren't sure. He's undersized, and then he puts on weight, still has his twitchiness, still has his speed, still has his strength. The next thing you know, boom, you get 9 sacks out of him. That's not a guarantee, but that's what you're looking for. You want a combination of a player like that on top of getting yourself some elite 4 and 5 stars, in which you're going to get some blue chips. Don't worry. Sooners are going to land those. Right now, they're evaluating everything, and your higher ones are typically the ones that take the longest. And I think Oklahoma's finding all the ones with the best traits, and they're going to pursue the heck out of them.
Well, I think they're looking for guys that just have football mentality.
Yeah.
You know, you see some of the commitments that they've got, some of the guys that they're trending for, whether it's Nico Jandro or Matthew Nelson or Noah Best or these guys that they're trending for now, Tavian Branch, Braxton Lindsey. They just have that football mentality, man. They're just straight up physical players. They're tenacious and physical. I was watching, Braxton Lindsey the other day, and I think he chased down a dude that got like 30 yards ahead of him and then forced a fumble. Like, that's that never quit mentality. But what they're putting together in this front office, they've got everything broken down. Like, they've got obviously Jim Nagy. Then they've got the senior assistant general manager, Lake Dawson. They got Taylor Redd, assistant general manager. Then they have Drew Hills, the director of scouting, Cale Pearson, director of high school scouting. So that dude, all he's doing is looking at high school film all the time, day in, day out. Looking at high school tape, trying to figure out who are the best guys. And then you got Stacey Ford, director of player personnel and retainment. That's a key position in this era of college football. It's not enough just to get these guys on campus. You got to keep them on campus. Oklahoma did a really good job of that in the offseason by retaining so much talent that was definitely going to have some offers out there in the transfer portal landscape. And then you have Charlie Parkinson, the assistant director of college scouting. That's an important role as well, not only for future scouting of opponents, but for transfer portal potential. You've got to have guys that are scouring the college ranks, trying to figure out, okay, who are the guys that might jump into the portal? And do we like those guys? You got to be ahead of the game, because if you're finding out about a guy and then you're trying to watch him that day, you're going to be behind the 8 ball because somebody else is going to have watched him. So they've got a really good group of guys that is spread, covering every aspect that you want them to cover. And this takes so much pressure off of the coaching staff. They can just go coach football now.
Yep. That's it. That's
and
what they can do.
Recruit players, build relationships, and coach football. The things they love to do.
And that's what we want. We want the coaches to coach football. The evaluators, give them a list of players, and they can say, hey, I like this kid. I like what he's capable of. What do you think? Let the front office bring the kids, to the staff, and then the staff coaches them. That's
Yep.
NFL model. We're there,
That's
baby. I'm excited about it.
Model. Yeah. And the coaches will certainly have a say in it. It's not like they're not going to have a say. They're going to be guys that they like, that they're going to push on the front office and be like, hey, this is a kid that we really need to have. It's going to be working both ways, but the coaches aren't going to have to be scouring thousands of hours of high school tape to find every player in their recruiting class. So it's a new era of college football, and I think this one right here, Oklahoma is set up for, and they're set up to evaluate talent and add talent in a really productive manner. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay on social media at Unfair Sports. You can also check out his channel on YouTube, Unfair Sports. You can follow me at John9Williams. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll catch you then. Boomer.
Sooner. We're going to get us another couple more commitments. God, it's going to be a busy week.
It's recruiting season.